Hey Pilates Party People, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline and I'll be taking you through a fun reformer flow. Of course, modifying any way you would like to. It is your time on your reformer, so let it be your time. Find what feels good, modify when needed, and let's go ahead and get started. Today we have a ball as our prop and we'll start lying nice and long onto the spine, making sure that we have one heavy spring, one medium spring. So that's one heavy spring, one medium spring for our footwork today. Laying nice and long, that headrest can be up or it can be nice and lowered. Taking both heels onto that foot bar just to get yourself nice and long through the spine, lifting the sit bones and lengthening through the tailbone. Letting the shoulders melt just softly away from those shoulder rests, and then floating the right leg up to tabletop position, pointing the toe as the left toes wrap around the foot bar like a bird on a wire here. They're nice and wrapped, and then the right knee and hip are in alignment. So the left toes are wrapped, right knee and hip are in alignment, that leg is in tabletop. We have the ball just at our chest and the elbows go out wide, lifting the left heel off of that reformer or into the air, into a soft high heel. We'll exhale to press away. And then inhale to float back into the stoppers. We'll do this 3 more times, letting the right knee and the hip feel nice and in alignment, almost as if that thigh bone is just sliding into the hip socket here. Last 2. Last 1. Folding in, this time as you exhale, lift the head, neck, and shoulders at that length, wrap that ball around the right leg, and float back into the stoppers. That's our next layer. Exhale, lift up, and float. Exhale, lift, wrap that ball, and float. 4. Use that exhale to lift the head, neck, and shoulders, slide that chest plate down into the front of the hips. Last 2. Last 1. We'll keep wrapping around. So pause at the top, keep that chest lift, option to lower the chest lift, and just wrap that ball around the thigh for 4. 3. Every exhale, lift the head, neck, and shoulders a little bit more. And 1, wrap around and fold back into the stoppers. We have another layer to go. Exhale, lift the head, neck, and shoulders, wrap that ball around as you lower the left heel. Lift and low. We have 2 circles. So lift, wrap the circle once, lower the left heel, wrap the circle again, and then lift and low. 4. Last 3. Last 2. And that last one, we'll press away, wrap around, and float back towards the stoppers. We'll change up those legs. So wrapping the right toes around like a bird on a wire, we lift the heel just slightly off that reformer. Knee of the left leg and that thigh bone is slinking down into that hip socket. Let the left toes point. Hands are on that ball at the chest. Elbows are nice and wide. As you exhale, keep that right heel lifted and then inhale, fold. We're finding that breath work here. The back of the hips feel heavy and just noticing the spring loads for the next 4. Last 3, let those shoulders soften. The chest stays nice and open. Last 2. Last 1. This time, you know what it is. We press out nice and long. We lift the head, neck, and shoulders. Take 1 wrap of that ball and then fold back into the stoppers. Exhale, lift, slide the chest plate down and lower down. Press, chest plate drops into the front of the hips. And we float back into the stoppers, pressing through that big toe mound, the pinky edge, keeping that left thigh bone nice and settled into that hip socket. For 2. Last 1, we have that extra layer coming up. So we have that exhale, wrap around. We're here for 4. Last 3, every exhale, lift the chest plate a little bit more towards that knee. 2, and one, floating back in. Now let's find that extra little bit of spice here. So make sure you're nice and cozy on that carriage. The shoulders are softened. Exhale, we press away, lift the head, neck, and shoulders. Pause here, wrap the heel around. Circle that ball not once, but twice. Lift the heel and lower back down. So we have that double wrap. Press, lift the head, neck, and shoulders, wrap. Lower the heel, wrap, and lift, and lower down. Press away. We feel that heel lowering down and lift. Last two. Last one. And lowering back down. Beautiful work. All right, we'll take that ball and we'll take it just under the sit bones. But first, let's rock and roll all the way up. Lengthen those legs over the foot bar and just lower yourself down to one heavy spring. So just taking off that medium spring, lifting the bum up and placing that ball just under the sit bones. Make sure that it's not onto the lower spine. Let the lower spine have a little bit of space, almost to round down into. Let the pelvis be nice and heavy. The shoulders nice and soft away from the shoulder rest. And we'll grab a hold of those straps. Grabbing a hold of the short loops today, option for the long loops for a little less tension. And then press the feet away from that foot bar just enough so that the shoulders and the wrists are in alignment here over the chest. And then plug those shoulders in. Let the arms remain nice and long, but the shoulders are even heavier, anchoring us down in space. Floating one leg, then the other to tabletop position, and zip up the inner thighs. Let the knees be close together or touching, and the ankles be close together or again touching. As you exhale, sweep through the fingertips, reach towards the foot bar as you hover those arms off the reformer. Inhale to float back up over the chest. Exhale, sweep the fingers, reaching through the fingertips, and then inhale, sweep back up. It almost feels as if the top of the arm, as you exhale, draws back into the shoulder socket, and the lower part of the arm or under the elbow sweeps towards that foot bar or reaching towards the room in front of you. We're here for 4, just finding that balance. It's a nice balance here into the pelvis. Last 3, exhale, reach. Inhale. Last 2. Inhale. And that last one, pause here. Pause at that length, reaching through those fingertips, reaching that top of the arm back into the shoulder socket. Let those shoulder sockets be heavy. The back of the ribs feel nice and heavy here as well. And then inhale, big belly breath. Exhale, send that right leg nice and long. Point the toes, reach and kick. And then inhale, fold back in. Pausing here. Exhale, reach the left leg. Inhale, float back in. Keep the pelvis nice and equal pressure in the back. Reaching through those fingertips and continue to alternate every exhale, kicking the leg nice and long. Now, the lower that leg goes and extends, the harder it is, the more abdominal pressure becomes. So use that exhale, hug the lower belly button towards the spine or hug the lower abdominals towards the spine. Every exhale, hug. Feel that change. Last 2. Last 1. Inhale, fold. Exhale here. Inhale, reach those arms up to the sky. One more time. We're going to exhale, press through those arms, press hovering Houdini style over that carriage, double extend. So zip up the knees, zip up the ankles, exhale, reach nice and long, point the toes, and then inhale, fold. Exhale, zip up the inner thighs, feel that squeeze in and draw back in. That lower spine shouldn't be moving, so that exhale is hugging the lower abdominals in towards the spine, supporting that lower spine so it doesn't have to move in space. Last 2. Last 1, last exhale here, sweep it out, pausing at that length. Inhale, take the toes out to either side. Exhale, zip. Last 2, inhale. Inhale. Inhale, fold and reach those arms up to the sky, taking those feet back to the foot bar here. Well done. All right, so we're going to go into a little bit more arm work. So pressing that reformer once you've had a little bit of a break. Pressing that reformer so that the shoulders and wrists are in alignment. Soften and plug those shoulder blades in towards that reformer behind you. And then inhale, float one leg, then the other to tabletop position. Those legs will stay right where they are. If those lower abdominals are having a little bit of trouble here, or you would just like a little bit of a break, crisscross applesauce those ankles and fold the knees towards the chest. Otherwise, stay in tabletop. Take a nice inhale here, and as you exhale, reach that right arm out towards the side, keeping the carriage nice and still. Inhale back to center, exhale, left arm reaches out. Inhale, exhale. Now this feels a little bit like flossing through the nerves, so it might feel a bit sensational, especially towards the inner arm and into the fingertips. And know that that's okay as long as that sensation feels okay. We're just flossing through, and that nerve feeling or that sensation might start to lessen, might start to dim a little bit, and that is a-okay. That means we're moving and grooving through. We're doing the work. We're here for 2. Last one. Inhale. Exhale, both arms reach out to the side, and we'll kick that right leg nice and long, just as we did before. Inhale, everything floats back to the center, and then reach out the other side. Float it back to center. Last one, reach and flow, other side. Exhale, hug those abdominals and draw back in. Floating the feet back to that foot bar. Take those straps just into the pegs so the shoulder rests. Lifting gently off that ball and lowering towards that reformer. All right, we're going to lift ourselves up. Exhale, lifting head, neck, and shoulders. Floating those legs over the foot bar here, just enough so that we can take one more red spring on. So double heavy. So double heavy spring on there. And lower that headrest if it is in fact lifted. All right, heels are on the foot bar this round. And we're going to move on to that reformer, lifting the sit bone so the tail can sweep between the knees and be nice and long. The shoulders are nice and soft away from those shoulder rests. The headrest is down if it was up before. And those feet are hip width distance apart. Heels on the foot bar, toes pointing towards the sky, but give them a little bit of a wiggle. Make sure they're nice and soft. The shoulders are our anchors once again, and that ball is just to the chest once again. Elbows are nice and wide, so we're letting the back of the ribs fan out. The shoulders soften in to that reformer, and the elbows bow to the side. As you exhale, scoop the tail, imprint the lower spine as if we're making a little bit of a map all the way up, reaching up through the knees. Send the knees forward. Inhale at the top. Exhale, slowly melt down through the spine, unraveling the tail at the very end. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, slowly scoop the tail, imprint the spine, and slowly lift up into that bridge. Inhale at the top, rib-hip connection, floating the lowest rib towards the front of the hips. And then exhale to slowly melt down. We're here for 2 more. Inhale at the bottom, recenter, reset. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, melting down. Inhale, recenter, reset. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. All right. Let's start to lift that right leg to tabletop position, pointing the toes, keeping those hips nice and square. We're going to exhale, scoop the tail, imprint the lower spine, take it slow through this one. Send the knee forward, keep those hips nice and square, and then squeeze that ball. Inhale, exhale to slowly melt down, keeping that right leg in tabletop position. Last 2 with that right leg lifted. Exhale, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And lower down, trying to keep that reformer closed. It's a hard one on this spring load. and lower down. All right, we'll do it all again on the other side. So right heel lands, hip width distance apart, flip the left leg to tabletop position, point the toes, take a nice inhale, and as you exhale, soften the shoulders, imprint the lower spine, scoop the tail and lift to your bridge, pausing at the top, inhale, exhale, slowly melting down. Now you can add that squeeze of that ball if that feels good. It can be a soft squeeze, so as you exhale, lifting into that bridge, squeeze, inhale, exhale to slowly melt down. Continuing here, making sure those hips are nice and square. That carriage is nice and still. Last two. Last one. And lowering down, beautiful work. All right, we're going to float all the way up onto the right side of your reformer. So floating onto the right side of your reformer here, changing that spring load to one medium spring. So just one medium spring here for our lunging series. We're gonna take that ball with you. Make sure it's a little bit softer. So notice how mine is a little bit deflated. That's where we want it to be. So I'm going to take my ball right up to the side of that reformer. Option, no ball. Option here, right where you would step that foot for a lunge, right up against that reformer foot bar knob. Hands float on to the foot bar here. And we'll float that right heel, or the left heel, my bad, left heel onto that shoulder rest. So from here, we're pressing into that right heel that's on that ball or not on that ball, pressing into the big toe mound, the pinky edge. And here's where we can start. Option here to take the hands onto the hips, or maybe one hand onto the hips. Standing up nice and tall. Almost feel that sensation of scooping that tailbone gently under as we wrap those sit bones or wrap those glute muscles around. From here, we're going to fold into the knees, split stance squat, just a little squat. Hinge from the hips forward. So the spine stays nice and long, that core stays nice and engaged, floating the lowest rib towards the spine, and the shoulders are nice and soft. Exhale, pressing away. Inhale, fold. Lift and press up. So it's that fold, hinge, press, fold, hinge, press. So we're folding, hinging, pressing, fold, hinge, press. If those hands are on that foot bar here, it feels a little bit different. Saying that, it's the same movements. We're still folding, we're still hinging, we're still pressing it out and pressing it up. Last 6. Making sure those hips are nice and square. If the hands are on those hips, they're a really nice indicator, especially that left leg or the leg that's kicking back. Sometimes that hip likes to help out, but keep the hips nice and square. Maybe take a nice handle on those hips. We're here for 3. Last 2. That last one. This time we're going to fold, hinge, that's our start position, press and fold, press and fold. Rock that left hip slightly forward, or the foot that the heel is kicking back. Rock that hip slightly forward, pressing through that big toe, that pinky toe, pressing through the big toe mound, the pinky edge. 4. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Pause here. Little lifts and lowers to that standing leg. Keep that kick back heel kicking for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drawing, folding in, hinging back up. Whew, all right. Drop both knees onto that reformer here. Stay on that medium spring and just place that ball. If you have a big platform like I do, just place the ball there. Otherwise, just take it onto the other side, the left side or the other side that you'll do your lunges on. Stepping your way into a standing position on that carriage with the hands onto that foot bar here. Hands are shoulder width distance apart. As you press through the palms of the hands, chest becomes nice and open, and the shoulders soften into the back pocket, almost as if you're drawing the shoulders down into the sides of the body. Zipping up the inner thighs here, big toe mound, pinky, big toe mound, and ankles are together. From here, we'll lift the heels, fold into the knees, and find a nice seated squat here with the heels lifted, almost as if you're sitting in the most uncomfortable chair ever. Exhale, press away. Shoulders and wrists stay in alignment, zipping up the inner thighs. And then inhale, closing back towards the stoppers, maybe even giving them a little close as you draw back into that squat. Press and fold. Last 6 and fold. Last 5. 4, 3, 2, and that last one, pause. Walk those hands out a little bit further if you would like. And then from here, we have that fold into a chest press. Exhale, press up. Exhale, press up. Last 2. Last 1. And then slowly closing those hands back to shoulder width distance apart. Fold the knees, drop the heels, and lengthen through the backs of the legs as you drape the hands over that foot bar here, shaking out the head, the neck, the shoulders, the knees maybe dance, folding and lengthening. The wrists might dance a little bit more as well, creating circles for 4. Last 2 breaths. All right, stepping those hands onto the left side of your reformer or the other side of your reformer, coming down into your lunging series on the other side. So for me, that is the ball is under my left heel. Big toe mound, pinky edge of my foot are heavily on the earth. Same as that heel is squishing that ball. Hands come onto the foot bar just to begin for myself. Heel onto the shoulder rest. Option to keep the hands onto that foot bar. Option to find one on that foot bar. Option to find both hands on those hips. Square off those hips, pointing towards that foot bar, the front of the room. And then fold into the knees. Hinge from the hips. And then press it nice and long through that back heel. Fold, hinge, press, fold, hinge, press. We keep going here. We know it now. We keep those hips nice and square and really feel that kick back through that kick back heel. Fold, hinge, and press. Last 4. Last 2. Last 1. All right, we're going to fold, hinge, press. This is our start position. Fold and press. Fold, press, fold, press. Keeping those hips nice and square. We're here for 8, 7, 6. Shoulders are soft. We're using that exhale, engage that core. 3, 2, 1. Pause here. Little pulses to that standing leg. Lift and lower out of that standing leg for 4. Last 2. Last 1. Lift, fold, hinge, and press away. Well done. Whew. All right, shake out those legs. And from here, we're going to find our arm series. So take that ball with you. Ball is always optional. Come onto your carriage, taking the handle of the front of that carriage here, closest to those spring loads. The toes are in the headrest area. And sit those hips down towards the heels, making sure that you are away from those shoulder rests because they do like to bite your butt if you don't. And then take that ball in between the knees. You have an option to stay on a medium spring or an option here to change it to a light or high light. So you can have that second tier of reformer spaces to place your springs. You can take that high light if you would like, or I'm going to take that light today. Option here. Light, highlight, or medium. Both hands are into those straps, short loops, arms draped down nice and long by the side and by the hips. So there's already a little bit of tension here to support us. Rock those shoulders up to the ears and then slowly draw them into the back pockets. That's where they'll stay. Draw the lowest rib towards the spine or the belly button towards the spine. And that's our start position. So as you exhale, reach those arms as if representing a tray. And then inhale to drape down nice and long by the side, just stopping at the hips. So as you exhale, reach. Inhale, float. 5. Now we have some options here. We can get a little bit more leveling up. Option to stay right where you are. This is perfect. Finding that really nice form over finding the hardest possible thing we can do is definitely the way to go. It makes the practice a lot stronger. This time, if you do want to level up, exhale, hug the lower abdominals towards the spine, sweep those hands gently, and then reach up, squeezing those sit bones, and then slowly drape back down. So we're coming up to a high kneel, hands end at those hips. Exhale, hug the corset muscle in, draw those arms sweeping forward, and slowly melt down. We're here for 5. Use that exhale. The shoulders are in the back pocket. Last 4. Nice controlled movements wherever you are for 3. Last 2. That last one, pause at the top. From here, if you are in high kneel, stay in high kneel. Engage the glutes. Inhale to slowly draw the elbows towards the torso. Option here, if you are in low kneel, same thing. Reach the arms on the exhale. Inhale, fold. Now you're really holding that tray. In fact, you're holding 2 glasses of water, 1 in each hand. So that pinky is raised just slightly. Reach and low. Last 2 and low. Last 1 and lower all the way down if you're in that high kneel. All right, one more movement here. Keep those elbows tucked in towards the torso, the shoulders nice and soft in the back pockets, reaching up through the crown of the head on the inhale. Exhale, let's reach those arms forward, pausing here. Option in high kneel or low kneel. Turn the palms to face in. Bow the elbows out as if you're holding a basket here. Just the right arm is going to go slack on that strap as you reach it out to a second position or out to the side. Drawing back, holding all the slack in that right hand, the left arm goes slack. And drawing back. Exhale, hug the lower abdominals in, reach the arm out. Inhale, draw back to center. Hug the lower abdominals in, reach the arm out, and draw back in. Last one on either side. Keeping those elbows nice and bowed. And then both arms, we're going to move the carriage this time. Bow out and wrap back in. Bow out, almost interlacing the hands here. Exhale. 2, 1, Then turn the palms to face towards the front of the reformer. Slowly lower down to that low kneel, or slowly lower down, taking those straps just into that shoulder rest or those pads in the back. All right, take that ball from in between the knees. We're going to come up, turning around. So we are on that low, low, low spring. So going ahead and changing that. If you are on that medium spring, stay on that medium spring. Otherwise, we're going to take a medium spring here. Coming into those seated abdominal abs, abdominal reverse abs, abdominal abs, same thing. All right. All right, that ball and that backrest or that carriage are going to meet each other. You can take a hold of that shoulder rest as you lower down, finding the back of that reformer, finding that carriage, finding the lower part of the shoulder blades if you can. If that ball needs to be further down, a-okay, that's all good. Taking one strap, finding one leg into the long loop, just over the knees, and I pull that strap a little bit more to find the second strap. Taking it over the knees, feet are in the headrest area, straps are out to either side, and it's not gonna be the most comfortable thing in the world, but those hands are gonna crisscross applesauce behind the head, thumbs down the neck space. Pressing the head into the hands into the head if you have room, scooting closer to that headrest area with the bottom. Elbows are out to the side in the peripherals or that side view, so you can kind of see them. And then we're going to lift that right leg to tabletop position. Exhale, point the toe and tap back down. Just tap and then lift that left leg to tabletop position. Exhale and just tap. So we're going to exhale, lifting one leg, tapping down. Exhale, lifting the other, tapping down. This might feel a lot in the lower abdominals especially, but use the exhales to hug the lower abdominals towards the spine. Really find that engagement. Option here to challenge ourselves a little bit more. Exhale, lifting the chest towards that knee, and then slowly lowering down. Exhale, lift the heart towards that knee, and then lowering down. So we're finding that chest lift as well as that knee drive. Almost as if you want to take a sniff of your knee. I know that sounds weird. It's kind of what it looks like. Last two. Last one. All right, same movements with the legs, but opposite elbow to opposite knee. Lifting the head, neck, and shoulders, and then lowering back down. So taking that chest lift, driving it to the side, and lowering back down. Finding your center, and peeling off to their side. Maybe turning that elbow a little bit more so that the shoulder can lift up and lower. 6. I know I can feel it too. We're here for 5. Take breaks when you would like. For 4, it's such a small movement. It shouldn't be this hard. Last 3, but it is. We love it. Last 2. And last 1. Draw back to center. And then if you have that space, if you trust it, wrap around that ball. Elbows are out to the side, opening the heart center. Find 3 breaths here. Let the sit bones be nice and heavy, the heart nice and open, and the elbows nice and soft. Last breath. And then as you exhale, lift the head, neck, and shoulders. Draw those knees to hip-width distance apart once again. And take one hand on the back of the thigh, the other to match, and slowly lift up. Take those strapparoos off however you would like to. And then slowly sitting back. Oh my goodness. Whew. All right, that is us today. Thank you so much for joining in this ball flow. I had a ball. I hope you did too, and I hope to see you next time. Please like and subscribe, comment anything you would like to see below, any practices we can do together. I would love to hear it. So I'll see you next time. Bye.